Ho ho! Happy Monday, everybody. If you're enjoying the day off, congratulations. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. It is now, it's a legit holiday now. And I'm reaping the benefits. And we're having a podcast on a nice day off. Okay? So, we got a lot to talk about. Welcome back to the Hot Tag Podcast. I am your host, Shake, ESG Shake, on all social platforms. Along with me is my co host, Teddy. We got so much to get into. It's finally happened. The Bloodline Civil War has officially begun. Friday night, all kinds of fireworks popped off. We'll get into that later on in the show. We got to tease it, keep you around. No, you know how it is. We also have two new women's championships that we got to talk about. Seth Rollins is making some interesting choices with his new world championship. There's so much to talk about heading into Money in the Bank. We're going to talk about some of that because some of the stuff popped up over the week. But before we get into any of that, Teddy, my man, how we doing?
I'm chilling, guys. I'm here. I'm ready to talk wrestling, as anyone who knows me knows I love to do. Sorry for my hiatus last week, but don't worry. I'm here. I'm back, and I'm ready to talk some wrestling. I love wrestling. So let's see what we want to talk off with. It's funny. You had mentioned I kind of want to roll with the new women's titles. What about you? How you feeling about that?
Yeah, let's get right into that. I mean, it's interesting. So, we might have talked. Me and Ray might have talked about it last week. If we did, we didn't get too in depth with it. Asuka was presented on Friday night, last Friday night, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, with a new undisputed women's championship that they're just calling the women's championship. Which is Roman's belt with a white strap, and it says
I think they're
undisputed
calling it the
women's.
WWE Women's Championship.
Yes, correct. And that was given to Asuka, and I like the white straps better. I think it just looks cleaner in general. What I don't like is that it is an exact copy of Roman's title, but with a white strap. I know you and I have gone back and forth about this, not disagreeing on a single freaking point in this entire thing. That we don't dislike the belt, but we do not love it. There's nothing about this belt that moves the needle. It just doesn't suck. I think that's kind of how we feel.
That's exactly how I feel. Honestly, I liked it better when it had the the white, the red, and the blue than this
Mm,
gold one. I don't know why. I'm not. I don't think the gold goes well with the white for me. I think I preferred it when it was red or blue. But I'm glad that they're no longer SmackDown and Raw Women's Championships. I'm glad it's just the WWE Women's Championship and the heavy. What is it? The Women's
the
Heavyweight
women's
Championship
world,
or
the women's world champion.
there you go. Yeah. I don't like that these are an exact replica. I actually don't like Rhea's belt, but I do think it's growing on me. But I don't like it. I think it looks better with the black strap than the white strap. I
Mm.
don't know. Maybe it'll grow on me. I don't particularly like it. I get why they've done this. A lot of people are
Really?
saying
I don't
branding.
listen. I don't at all. Okay, yes, branding, but
Well, hold
like,
on. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that. So a while ago, and this kind of triggers into what Ronda Rousey said on like she's
mm,
like I don't like I think there shouldn't be like what did she say? She made the comment about like
she said
they
women shouldn't be included in the name of the championship. She
yeah
feels
so
like it shouldn't be a separate like thing.
and so they obviously can't do that because there's no weight classes. So this was their next best thing. I think they wanted these belts to be seen on the same level
Yeah.
as the men's belts. So what other way to do that than to make them exact replicas? They're exact replicas, but only with a different color strap to differentiate the women's and the men's. I think this is where their idea was. I don't think it's a great one. I see the mind, like the idea behind this. Like, all right, these women, we're gonna start elevating our women. We're gonna put them on the same level. Like, Rhea needs to be on the same level as a Roman and a Seth. Like, so we gotta put them. We gotta put them same belt, different color. That's it. And um, really, if you think about it, wait a minute. If you think about it, they've been doing it for a while. The only difference is like now it's like, all right, we changed up the titles, but the titles look the same if you think about it. The Universal in the world because they were all the same belts. Now
Oh,
they changed it up.
it has been the same physical title design for world titles
Yeah,
since 2013.
we haven't thought about that because we were like, now we just see that they're like, oh, they're the exact same thing. We don't like this. And it's like, wait a second. It's been the exact same thing the whole time. It's just all belts look like that, so you didn't notice.
Right.
And now it's like, and so now we have this change up, and they're like, oh, well, they just went with the same exact thing. And there is still, I've heard going around, there was a poke at with the backstage. They don't like the term undisputed because undisputed
No shit.
means. So me and Shake talked about this, and Shake texted and he goes, "Well, I guess it means when it means like
The literal
like
definition means it can't be called into question.
and so and then I commented and I said, yeah, well that's why they call it undisputed because you're the only champion. You can't be calling the contest who's the better champion because you're the only champion. That's why they started using the term undisputed for one belt. You can't have two world champions and then call yourself undisputed when there's another world champion around. So that you're just like, well, you need one belt. So I don't like the fact that they've done that. Well, here's another thing. I don't know where I want to go with this. We'll get into it in a second, but it's like, so let's talk a little bit more about the women before I get into this. Remind me to talk about Roman still keeping 3 belts. Let's.
I might
so
not because I get really pissed off thinking about it.
Well, a lot of people, some people have like chimed in, but I actually kind of like this, and I actually am not the biggest opposer of it. I'm glad he's not carrying it, but when you see all 3 of those belts just sitting up like that, it's a pretty cool image. It's obviously going away as soon as the next person wins the title, but I think it like when you see that image and it's just 3 belts sitting on top of each other, you don't just think, man, this is a bad dude right here. Like,
I guess.
But let's talk about the women's championship. Let's talk about Charlotte Flair and Asuka, and let's talk about this potential Bianca Belair turn that looks like it's coming up on the horizon.
I think it's good for her. I really do. The more I've thought about it, and I mentioned this last week, and Ray had said that he felt like you can't do that because there's so many kids that are in love with her, and she's so over as a babyface right now. And he said it's the John Cena effect. I said okay, and we didn't get into it because we got off on a tangent somewhere else, but
let's stay on this one.
That's not.
I agree with you and Ray.
That's not. Yeah, right. I agree. I see both sides too, but arguably that's not what you want to do with Bianca. Can we confidently say that if Cena had turned heel at some point in his career, there's the potential that he possibly would have been bigger?
There's a potential because I think,
or have more generalized popularity and have more people like him because it was just kids towards the end.
I think he wouldn't have been so polarizing because you can always win kids back.
Right.
Those kids that grew up with you can always win their hearts back. You can always, and it's like when Stone Cold turned heel, he won all those people back. It's just like, obviously the Batista's not on this level to this effect, but when he turned heel, I was upset, but then, I eventually just rolled with it. And then, even when he tried to go, face again, I was back with it. I think, but obviously it's not to that effect. But I think, like I said, Stone Cold, The Rock, they both turned heel and they won all their fans right back. I think it's weird because like I could understand why you'd even want to protect Bianca even more is because there's so many. So John Cena's one thing, and here's why it's almost more important Bianca is because it's like there's never been a female in this position for wrestling girls to be like idolize like this and roll with this, and like you got girls of all races, all ages dressing up as Bianca Belair for Halloween. Like how often do you see like little kids like dressing up as a female wrestler for Halloween?
Not often.
I was at WrestleMania and there was a grown woman with her husband watching Bianca and Asuka, and like I said, and the match was over, and she took her ponytail and waved it in the face of her husband, and like so like to me this was like something because this was like all right, so this like I said, just speaks to all races. I love it. This was like a Caucasian woman who just loves Bianca Belair. Like all races, all genders, all genders, all genders. You see dudes, grown big men cheering for Bianca Belair and like loving her. So it's just like it's a really transcendent effect on the population right now, and I think a heel turn will protect those people who are starting to feel sour on her a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. Um, and I think she can win them back when she goes face again because we all have seen the test of tail. Look at Randy. Randy, we love it when he turns heel, but then when he gets so red hot as a heel, he starts becoming babyface, and then he just runs as a babyface again. And then we're those are the moments when we love Randy as a babyface. Is when he's become so red hot as a heel that he turned babyface, and I think she could become red hot as a babyface, and I think we're gonna see and I do think the reports are right that I heard in the past of her and the Street Profits that they just lost in the first round of the damn
Gauntlet
gauntlet match,
match.
which
Yeah.
is very, very surprising for them to lose in the first round like that. So I think we're going to see a heel turn from them as well, and I think we're going to see those three run it out as a faction. And could you imagine, the heat the Street Profits would get if they dethroned KO and Sammy?
Yeah, it depends on their attitudes. And with the whole Bianca thing, like, this heel turn only works if she can get over as a heel. Like, if she doesn't get hate and people just stop caring about her because they're annoyed by her character and just don't want to see her anymore as a heel, it's a bad thing. Because let's be honest, can Bianca be a heel?
Yeah, I don't. I have not a doubt in my mind. Like you can already see, there's heel parts of her that she toes the line. Like I can see it. I have no doubt in my mind. I think she'd be a phenomenal damn heel. Like I think she'd actually be a better heel than a baby face.
I mean, it's to be seen, and I'm not gonna. I just don't see it. I. Not that she'd be horrible. I don't think she's gonna be awful as a heel. I just like. I don't know. We'll see if it
I
happens, but
her sass, her statements, the way she does business. All she has to do is tweak it in the opposite direction, and it turns into hate. I think she toes the line of between heel and babyface already a few times. I tell you right now, she gets in there, find her a strong babyface, and it's over. It's over. I really don't see. There's no doubt in my mind that she's gonna be a savage heel. Like I think she's gonna be a savage of a heel. There's no doubt in my mind. And I think the Street Profits would be savage heels too.
I
I'd be
think they'll
surprised.
be
Like,
fine as heels. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if Bianca can hold that and take the heat and I don't know. We'll see. But as far as Charlotte Flair, I've said it before. I get it. I understand what she said on Friday. I am the line. She's not wrong, but I'm still not a fan of showing up and boom, you're in the title picture. I get it's better than when she came and just won it out of nowhere last time. Better than that, I'll give you that. But I don't know. Like, I would have preferred her come back. It doesn't need to be long. A week or two. She just has a couple squash matches where she beats the shit out of some mid-card women, makes her look real good. And then she says, I want the title. Then you're like, okay, cool. Like, the only thing, we're getting to that name alone thing, right? Where, like, a lot of people are looking the other way. 14-time women's champion. I don't like it. I don't. And I understand she's earned that right. And I'm not saying she hasn't, but I do not like it. Why do you show up and get to do all this shit out of nowhere? Why isn't Io Sky getting another? Okay, sorry. She's going in the Money in the Bank ladder match. But, there's other women you could be throwing at this title. Raquel Gonzalez ain't doing shit right now. Like, I mean, right.
here's the fact of the matter. The title picture is better when Charlotte Flair's around it. Just straight up.
I
no
agree.
debate. It is what it is. Whether she wins or not, the title picture is more interesting. The story is already more interesting that she's surrounding it because you don't know what's going to happen. It is just better.
I do know what's going to happen, though. That's the fucked up thing. Unless Bianca is inserted in this, she is going to be Asuka.
I don't know.
You don't? What is Asuka doing? This is the first time I've ever been down on Asuka. I love Asuka, but she is literally doing nothing. She's going to drop the title to either Bianca or Charlotte, and then they're going to have a thing. We're probably going to get Bianca and Charlotte at SummerSlam.
I can see a triple threat at SummerSlam.
I don't want it.
I don't mind it.
I'm fine. Right. I don't, because It's so frustrating because I defended her 3 months ago, but I don't care about Asuka.
That's what I was saying 3 months ago.
I know. That's why I'm so frustrated in this.
Well, here's the thing.
Because she had her opportunity and she's done nothing in 4, 5, 6, almost 6 months. Literally nothing.
Well, here's the thing. We have a potentially heel turning Bianca Belair emerge in the situation. We have always hot Charlotte Flair. And then we have
Triple threat should happen at Money in the Bank. I'm fine with a triple threat, not at SummerSlam. No.
Why not? I mean, why not SummerSlam? You have Asuka at the very least. Doesn't even have to be. She could just be the champ that's just running from these two. We all see how that works. It always makes it a fun game when we're watching the champ just run from the challengers.
Yeah, I guess, but like, if it was pretty much anyone, like, Asuka doesn't make you care at all. Like, I thought as a heel, it would give her the opportunity and the freedom, but she's actually worse now than she was as a babyface. She says less. She does nothing. She just walks around and has missed. She doesn't do anything. She doesn't run away from people. She just kind of stands there and taunts the Mist. That's it. She is a one-trick pony. It is so fucking bad. I've been trying to not curse as much this episode. I don't know if you noticed that. But it's so bad, dude. Like, it's so frustrating.
This was my stance a couple months ago.
And you were right. You were right 3 months ago. And now you're wrong.
Well, no, I just don't disagree with you. I just don't see it as a bigger issue right now.
It's going to happen at Summer at
we
Money
were
in the
going
Bank.
into WrestleMania, and it was just like, this is just boring. She can't carry a storyline. Well, now we have Charlotte and Bianca mixed in the middle. All right, and Asuka, all you have to do is show up and wrestle. I don't even need to see you.
So what's the point is what I'm saying. She loses the belt at Money in the Bank, and then we get Bianca and Charlotte. Asuka adds nothing. If you want to have Asuka just for the sake of having her in there and giving her respect, sure, fine. But don't act like it's benefiting the story at all. It does literally nothing. All that anybody cares about is Charlotte and Bianca because that's the friction right now. Because Charlotte showed up and said, I want your title. Also, I found it weird that Charlotte was pointing to the Raw Women's Championship as opposed to the one Asuka was wearing. That kind of bothered me. And she it was weird. Like, I don't think it was on purpose or really meant anything, but it was weird and I didn't like it.
I thought it was strange. It made no sense at all for her to do that.
But she did it multiple times.
She did. It was strange. But what I will continue to say, I think Asuka does serve a point because now you have like Charlotte Flair, which is like exerted herself. So you're already mad because she's exerted herself into this situation. So now she's exerted, and now we have, substantially just cracked. I was going to swear as well. Crap on Bianca Belair and said, "No, sorry, yeah, go somewhere. You've lost. You had it for a year. Go away, go away." And now she's mad. So now she does service a point because the title's off Bianca. We're telling this story that we don't care about Bianca and Bianca's getting upset about it. Then we're also telling the story that Charlotte Flair just inserts herself into whatever she wants, anytime she wants, and gets the title picture. You couldn't have, you're telling two different stories in one segment because Asuka's the champion. And Asuka doesn't have to do anything. You couldn't tell two different stories. You can only tell one of those stories if Bianca's still the champion. You can only tell one. But now, because Asuka's involved in here, you're telling two different stories. And have history, and Bianca have history. So there's a lot going on in here that really doesn't have to do anything, and it's already kind of a compelling story. Like,
is it though?
Is Charlotte gonna win?
Is
Charlotte gonna win?
She is.
If she does win, when we get at SummerSlam, or maybe Bianca. Bianca already says she's sitting ringside, so this means Bianca's probably gonna do something that cause her heel turn. I think the story's interesting. I'm interested in it. I'm like, what's going on? I'm not like glued to the screen, but significantly more interested in it than I was for Bianca versus Asuka. Significantly more interested. I think it's a better story around this time right now.
Okay, is it a better story than Bianca and Asuka going into WrestleMania? Yes. But like, what is that saying? Basically nothing, if we're being honest.
It's just saying it's better. Yeah, that's all it's
Okay, so
Is
Asuka versus Bianca going into WrestleMania was a 1. This is a 3. Actually, that's not true. This is like a 6 or 7 because of Charlotte. Not because of Asuka.
So,
Asuka, like, what I'm saying is, of course, yes,
what would
Asuka's
you
the champ.
rather it be right now? What would you rather it be?
I already told you. Asuka loses at Money in the Bank, and then we get Charlotte versus Bianca at SummerSlam. Asuka does not need to be here. She needs to go the fuck away and come back as a babyface that we all love and float around the mid card just to be fun. That's literally what she needs to do.
Either way, it's like
She obviously has to be a part of it because she is the champion. I understand.
I think I think you're sleeping on this possible triple threat between Bianca and Asuka and Charlotte. I think you're sleeping on it. How good it would be.
It's not. I think you're overblowing this. I really do.
The match. I'm overblowing the match.
Yes, I don't think Asuka would add anything to a match between Charlotte and Bianca. Literally nothing. Maybe a couple, 2 spots that you're like, oh wow, that was pretty cool. Otherwise, it's going to be dominated by by Bianca and Charlotte, and you can't tell me otherwise. That's the story. That is the actual story we're trying to tell right now.
I'm talking about in the ring. Asuka is phenomenal. To say that she would add anything to that match is absolutely wild. Remember,
Don't care. Did you care at all about her match between Bianca and Asuka at WrestleMania? Did it move the needle at all? No. You said it. No, it did not.
Now we're in a triple threat.
Oh, because of Charlotte. That's what I'm telling you. We don't need Asuka. It's because of Charlotte. This is interesting. If Asuka wasn't here, you'd be just as excited about it, if not more excited.
I'm looking long one. I'm looking long one. I don't think we need to waste a Charlotte and a Bianca at SummerSlam. I think you.
I don't think you're wasting.
Use this as a stepping stone, and you save this into a WrestleMania match down the line. You can play with that down the line.
I mean, I guess.
This could be a stepping stone. This can create heat. I think you just look at it as something that can build for further down the line. I mean, you can do if you have bigger plans for Bianca, as I mean, like going against Rhea Ripley, then sure. But if you don't, you have a Charlotte Flair and a Bianca Belair going into WrestleMania 40. I mean, that's a huge match in itself, right then and there. And this is one of those things that starts it. This is one of those things that kind of starts it and moves it down and you drag it out to WrestleMania. But let's not forget that Asuka walked into a triple threat with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch and walked out as the champion. Let's never forget that.
When was that, buddy?
I don't know.
Exactly. What have you done for me lately?
He put on good matches.
Yeah,
he put on good match. She did have a great match with Bianca at WrestleMania.
She had a pretty good match with Bianca.
All right.
It wasn't better than Becky and Bianca. Not even fucking close. Not better than Bianca and Sasha either. Not even fucking close.
It was still good.
It was fine. It was fine. It wasn't bad. It was the worst WrestleMania match Bianca has had, and I'll tell you what, it wasn't Bianca's fault.
Well, I mean, that's not bad. She's had 3, and she wrestled Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch. And bigger.
But you just right. But you're trying to say that Asuka's in the same spot is what you're trying to say. You're contradicting yourself is what you're doing.
I'm not. I'm trying to ask you. I'm saying she's in the same spot as what?
You just tried to say. You just said let's not forget that Asuka beat Becky and Charlotte. That was so long ago.
Yeah, but she's still. She just won. She's a women's champion. People like Asuka. It doesn't matter. You were just fighting for her a couple months ago, so now you're upset because she hasn't done anything. And the truth be told, she's actually more interesting than she was when she was going into WrestleMania. She's the champ.
She is now.
She had her whole thing. She had her whole thing with freaking Kyrie Zayd and whatever, and people were rooting for her.
Io.
She had her whole thing with Io Sky in the ring, which is kind of interesting. People were rooting for her when she won. They cheered when she won. They were rooting for her during that match. People like Asuka. I think you're a little upset right now because she hasn't been doing much, but she hasn't been doing that before. I actually think she is in a better position than she was going into WrestleMania.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine, but
she's literally improved, and she's not doing that in a second. But she's like, all right, Bianca's Charlotte's back, and you got this whole Bianca Belair thing. Like she actually, and I actually think she had a good contributing part to that whole segment when all the women got in the ring and was talking about how they were going to take the women's title from Asuka. And then she did, she played her game, and then she just left, which I thought was funny. She was just like, I'm leaving. After you guys. And then she got, who's it? Bianca caught her up at the top of the rail. I think she's playing a great part right now. I think you're completely undercutting her. I mean, like I said, a couple months ago, she was boring as shit, wasn't doing anything. She's actually playing a pivotal part right now and a subtle part, and I think it's doing a great job. I have no complaints with Asuka right now. I do think I think you're undercutting her. I think you're a little upset that you've expected so much out of her and she hasn't delivered to your expectations.
She hasn't even sniffed expectations.
Whose fault is that? Like, I think you set these expectations. She has gradually gotten better. She's gradually gotten better, and like I said, I think she's playing a strong part right now.
Okay.
You can have two different storylines right now running. Two great storylines.
Great's the fucking strong word.
You have Bianca Belair's heel turn coming up that looks pretty good, and you have and look at this. Look at this argument between us right now that's sparking it. We are talking about still upset. This has become a storyline that people are upset that Charlotte Flair just comes in and interjects herself in the title picture, and she even says it. It's literally becoming a storyline for everything now. She just said it. I didn't politic for this. I just was me. What I want. That's it. I can't help that you didn't get what you wanted.
The fuck did that have to do with Asuka, though?
So if the belt was on Bianca, we wouldn't have the two separate storylines. We would just have Charlotte coming in, demanding a title, which would be significantly less interesting. Because the belt is on Asuka, now we have two storylines. We had that fun interjection with Bianca Belair when she was like, you better put some respect on my name. I didn't need 14 times to hold the title to be the longest modern era champion. All right? I like the storyline. I don't see anything wrong with the storyline, and I don't mind it, like, Asuka holding it for a little longer. I think she can keep playing these cat and mice games with people, and I think we're just seeing the bit of it. She could lose. It is what it is if she loses, but she is, because I think it's going to ramp up the story. I think Bianca's going to interject, and then we're going to get, Asuka's going to run away again, and we're just going to get that cat mouse game. I mean, this is just my style. I love heel champions that just run away. So this is my style. But I think she's significantly better. She's improved. I'm happy with what I've seen. I'm happy with what I've seen from Asuka. I'm not upset in the slightest bit.
Yeah. I mean, no. But I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about it.
That's fine. We can end this one, and then we can go argue about Seth.
There's nothing to argue about for Seth. There's literally nothing to argue about. They are fucking his reign and fucking that title.
Oh, well, then we don't agree. No, I guess there is nothing to argue.
There's no argument.
You had a different standpoint last week.
Because he didn't accept the NXT challenge last week.
Seeing this coming. I wasn't even surprised.
So stupid.
I wasn't even surprised.
Okay, we got 6 minutes left before we get into that. Let's just start a new one.
Yeah. Make my case, because I do think we have a general misunderstanding. I think you think I hate Seth, and I don't hate Seth. Here's my understanding of what's going on here. I just stay out the fact. It's not Seth's fault. It is not Seth's fault in the slightest bit. And I've said this to you over and over again. It's not his fault. I just don't see him as that guy anymore. And here's why I don't see him. And there's a lot of people who we hadn't seen Seth title in a while. Two, so he's solidified himself as the mid-card match. I'm going to have a banger, and I'm going to bring the show up, elevate the show. That's where I see him. That's where I love him. That's where I wanted him to stay. But here's this. Seth has this world title. He has nobody. Despite me and you completely disagree on this one. You keep beating me, Finn Balor. And I'm like, Finn Balor hasn't beaten nobody. He hasn't beaten nobody. He's just been on the receipt end of everything losing. He even lost he's 0-2 in the last 3 years as the Demon. This man hasn't even gotten a win as the Demon. So you're talking about a match with Finn Balor, and I'm just like, that's a joke. That's that's an IC title match. Like, that's what that is. That's an IC title match. Finn Balor is like on a losing streak. Damian Priest lost the Bad Bunny. Like, it's just like, it doesn't make any sense. The people he should be feuding with, Kevin Owens, tied up in the damn title picture. I'd even give you Sami Zayn tied up in a title picture. Gunther tied up as the IC title champion. Like, there's just, Bobby Lashley on SmackDown. Edge, which you and I completely disagree on. Edge on SmackDown. Which, all right, let's talk about Edge.
No.
Edge is literally, I don't care what you say, you can be upset that he keeps winning, but you can't.
You were upset that he kept winning a year ago, by the way.
Yes, I am upset, but be upset that he keeps winning, and then to disagree that if you beat him, it states something, it means something. It's two different things. I didn't say Edge needs to beat Seth. I said Seth needs to beat Edge. He beats Edge, he retires Edge, that puts his championship run a little higher. It makes me respect him a little bit more because Edge has beaten everybody. Edge has beaten everybody. It hasn't even lost. Who's he lost to since he's been back? You can't even really give AJ Styles a pat on the back because AJ was a triple threat match, and Edge just stood up after he speared Rey Mysterio. So you really can't even give him the pat on the back there for that win, but you can. Other than that, he lost to Roman through interference every time, and that's it. Who else has beaten Edge?
Judgment Day did once.
Oh, yeah, they beat him once. And not even because they beat him because they threatened to smash in Beth Phoenix's skull.
And then did it anyway.
Exactly. So beating Edge is a huge thing for him. The Judgment Day just keeps losing. Like, they're not even like, I feel like they should keep winning, but they don't. They just keep losing. So I have no respect for the Judgment Day if you beat them. It's like, okay, you beat them. Who hasn't? And so, but Seth has no one to feud with. He should beat Brock, but they're not gonna. They're not gonna have him beat Brock, which they should. They should maybe like Cody and Brock are wrapped up, and that just like that lets you know
they are not wrapped up.
They're wrapped up with each other.
No. Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Let me see. Yes, they're wrapped up with each other. So those are your other two people you need to beat. Doesn't look like they're giving Seth Rollins the respect he deserves. The fact that he hasn't beaten one of these guys yet to put his title reign over, they're not giving him the respect he needs. Just not. And then, as I made my statement a couple weeks ago, this feels like an open challenge title. That's not how you build a world championship. That's how you build a mid-card championship. This feels like an IC title, 2.0. And you argued me down. Where? Because of one open challenge? I just hit the goddamn mother load of open challenges. He's going down to NXT to face a Braun Breaker that just lost 2 times in a row to the NXT champion.
Yeah.
It's like I told you. And to me, calling this the work rate champions title is a disrespect because that's not what the world champion is supposed to be. The world champion is supposed to be the world champion. You don't need to put the work rate champion. Like, no, that's the IC title, and that's what we run that by. This is the world champion, the best guy in the company. You don't need to put it behind him. He's the work rate champion. No, he's the best guy in the company. So, it's just, they've dealt Seth a shit hand. Dealt him a shit hand rolling into the championship. Like, this is a guy that there was a legit fear that he was going to lose to Logan Paul at WrestleMania. And I was like, what? Like, there's legit fear that this guy was going to lose to Logan Paul going into WrestleMania. So, forgive me for not respecting this title reign, even though they are not respecting this title reign. Forgive me for not thinking this is your guy that's going to put your title over the moon and make us think that this is something to be respected on as the same level as our Roman Reigns, or even close. Forgive me for that, but you haven't dealt me the cards to make me believe that whatsoever. And that's on the WWE. And that's just how I feel right now. Yeah, he's popular as shit. I agree with you. He's popular as shit. That doesn't mean he's tough as shit. That doesn't mean he's the world champion. That just means he's popular as shit.
It doesn't, but there's no reason he can't be. And you can't argue that.
There's no reason, yeah.
That's all I was saying, is that there's no reason he can't be that guy. is what I literally never said it before because it never came to my brain, but that's where I was coming from. There's zero reason he can't be that guy and be right. Okay, maybe not at that level, but sniffing around the level of Roman, because Roman has reached levels you could say Hulk Hogan possibly hasn't even reached.
I'm not going to disagree with you at all. With there's no reason he can't be, and that's why I keep saying it's not his fault. There's no reason he can't be. This is a guy going into day one last year. We were like, oh snap, Seth and Roman. Love this story. This is a guy where it's like, oh, you know, Seth versus Roman at Mania over a Seth versus Brock at Mania, or even a triple threat. So I don't disagree. But since then, yeah, a different story. I mean, he was on a 3-year losing streak at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then he got his win this year over Logan Paul. We weren't sure if he was going to get it. I was. I know when we had that four-way podcast, there was thoughts otherwise. I was like, there's no way he can lose. And
Yeah.
Because
Come on.
I was like, if he loses, I'm going to be pissed. But there was legit fear from the community and other people who thought he was going to lose. It's just like, been on a great path. What he has been doing is building popularity and putting on match after match after match, 5-star, great match after match after match. That's what he has been doing. But he's been putting people over, and he needs to stop putting people over. He put over
It's his time now.
He put over Cody Rhodes. He put over Kevin Owens. He put over a bunch of people.
It just seems like this was the time for WWE to be like, you were putting people over for 3 years, and they got over because of who you are. Now it's your turn to remind everybody who you are. You are the guy that beat John Cena for the United States Championship while you were WWE Champion. You are the guy that had the heist of the century at WrestleMania 31. You are the inaugural NXT Champion. He is that guy. And let's go right down to the NXT thing. Do I think it's
what I will say about that, though, as you said to me earlier, what have you done for me lately, though?
I beat AJ Styles and won the World Heavyweight Championship. But
AJ Styles. We were surprised AJ Styles made it that far.
It was weird, but I mean,
you go to
NXT and then why? Like, I get it in the sense that, like, oh, it's where I came from, and I'm gonna give a young guy a shot. Don't do that. Don't do that. I said to Ray last week when you were gone, when this whole thing started, I said, I'm okay with one thing, I'm not okay with the other. I'm okay with Seth accepting the challenge if it means that's Breaker's debut on Monday Night Raw. But that's not what they did. Seth Rollins is now going to a developmental brand with your brand new World Heavyweight Championship. Who is that good for? Braun Breaker. That is it. And it's good for NXT. But like, if you want to act like that doesn't devalue the World Heavyweight Championship, it does. Because what's the point of having what's supposed to be your 1A title defended on your level 2 show? Like, let's look at, do you ever see the AEW Championship defended on Ring of Honor? No, you don't. And that Ring of Honor is not really developmental for AEW, so it's not exactly the same, but like, isn't it though? So like, you have Samoa Joe come to AEW, you have Claudio come to AEW with their titles. I think that's fine. If Braun Breaker came up to Monday Night Raw and said, I'm here now, I want a shot at your title, okay. I actually think that's kind of cool. But to go to NXT is just like, why? Especially when you had a segment with Finn Balor the night before, hyping up a match 3 weeks in advance. How does that make sense?
They should have done? You know what they should have done? They should have done a non-title match.
Against?
They should have done non-title. Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes calls him out. And it's like, you're the big guy.
Oh, against Rollins? That would have been fine, too. Champion versus champion?
champion. Yes, it gives Carmelo Hayes puts on a decent match, but
He gets a rub, yeah.
he gets a rub, but Seth still kind of dominates the match a little bit, and it's like, hey, kid, you're real good. You're the best they got down here. Shake his hand at the end of the match, let him know that this guy's the real deal. I'm going, because I'm still the world heavyweight champion. That's it. But now you got Braun Breaker, who lost twice to Carmelo Hayes. Like,
yeah,
he's not even on a win streak. He's on he lost. Like, what are you doing here? That's my argument about Finn. It's like Finn's on a lose streak. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, it's just like I just don't get why Finn. Like, for God's sakes, I get it. There's not like I just don't get it. I don't get it. Like, you should have been. I don't get it. It don't make no sense.
But you also said, like, who else is there, though?
Again, that's not fair to Seth, but
It's not, right.
Don't care what you say. We disagree on it. Ed should have won the SmackDown side of things, and I think we would have respected him a lot more, Seth Rollins, unless he's planning on retiring him.
I would have preferred Edge over AJ Styles, because at least then there's that added story of like, oh, Edge beat Seth Rollins 3 times. Like, can Seth get over the hump? I think that's you. Okay, first of all, you said Edge should win it, and I thought that was horseshit. Being the final match, I think that would have been way more legit. You did say that you thought Edge should be the
nominee. I was getting ready to say I still think he should have won.
Yeah,
I still think he should have won, but I think if he didn't, I'd still be okay with Seth beating him. Like, either way, like, Seth. Edge hasn't lost to Cody. Edge hasn't lost to Brock. Edge barely lost to Roman. All right, you already put some level of respect on the setup. Edge beat Bobby to get here. Then beat Seth. It's like whatever. Who could this be? I'm sorry, my door's ringing.
All right. So, yeah, it's interesting what's going on with this World Heavyweight Championship. There's really not much else we can say without talking in circles. So we can head right into the madness, the cinema, the wonderful, wonderful story that is the Bloodline right now. I just choked on my own spit. Oh, sorry about that, chat. Holy shit. Anyway, what a wonderful story we've been painting here, right? For 3 years now. And in case you've been living under a rock, this story's been really freaking good. And it came to another head this past Friday night. Jay was forced to make his decision on whether he was going to stay or leave the Bloodline. And he kept giving this contingency to Paul Heyman. If I'm in, you're out, that type of deal. And it has been absolutely a phenomenal story. So we get there. Roman comes out, does his thing, talking, the acknowledge me stuff. Then Jay comes out to make his decision. He starts talking about all this stuff and how he's main event Jey Uso now and all the blah, 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 and all of the stuff that's been happening over this past 3 years. Jimmy comes up out of nowhere. Not really out of nowhere. We all kind of expected it, but it was random, and he comes in, and there's this whole thing, and Jimmy and Jay are going back and forth, and it comes down to Jay finally making his decision. He turns around to Jimmy, says, "You're out." And that's where I was like, oh shit, I didn't see it coming. And he says, "If you're out, I'm out too." Bam! Super kick to Roman's face. It is being called the super kick around the world. And it's not even in reference to Shawn Michaels. Let that shit sink in, how good this story is. And then they turn around, double super kick to Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is on the ground in shambles. Paul Heyman has his head in his hands. I don't even remember what happened. Didn't they kick Solo too?
They did.
Yeah. And then hold on. And then what happened after? The crowd's chanting, "You deserve it," to Roman. What a beautiful story. The crowd is now fully invested in this. They're not just cheering. They are vocalizing how they feel, saying, "You deserve this. You've been a bad guy this whole time. And you're finally getting what you should have got 3 years ago."
Yeah. I I love Roman selling. I feel like every time he sells like a betrayal, his facial expressions are just priceless. And when he got super kicked to his face, was just priceless, laying on the ground like.
Someone said
I
they on Twitter they were like he sold the super kicks like death.
yeah. I love Roman Reigns. He's so good right now, and this storyline is good. Just when we thought it couldn't get any better, we thought it. There was a point. There was like 1 week we were like, all right, they're dragging us, and then the next week it's like, wait a minute, they ain't dragging nothing, and it almost makes you, and it makes you feel okay because I sit there and I wonder, would this story have the same effect had Cody won at WrestleMania? And I wonder. I don't know. I don't know if it would or it wouldn't have. I think I just don't know. I don't know if it would or it wouldn't have. And I think if you can drag this out for a while because I obviously we're gonna get at Money in the Bank the Usos versus Roman and Solo.
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you do at SummerSlam? What do you do at SummerSlam?
Jay versus Roman for the Universal Championship.
Yeah, I guess so. I wouldn't. I'm not mad at it. I think
It feels like that would be a WrestleMania match, though, is the only thing.
I wouldn't go that far. I think. I mean, it's still. It could because the storyline is so good.
Correct.
So the reason I hesitated on it because I was like, I feel like this is Jimmy's got to get a match in there because Jay's already had two. I feel like it's like Jimmy and then Jay at some point. Like I don't know because like like Jimmy hasn't had a match against Roman, and it's like Jimmy really provoked this. I feel like Jay would. I could see it being very much Roman's coming for you. I want you, Jimmy. I want you. And Jay's like, and he's like, no, Jay, and like he still like has hope for Jay because like he said, he's been grooming him to be the right hand man and take over. In my head, I'm like, well, how much younger is Jay than you? Like, I don't think he's gonna be around much longer after you're gone. Like, for him to be head of the table, but he still has hope for him, and so he's like, I want Jimmy. I want, it's like I'm wondering how you do this, but can we just say that for a guy who had less dates, he has surely been around nonstop since WrestleMania. I mean, he's taken a SmackDown off, but he is here. He's wrestled every pay per view.
Who?
Roman.
Oh yeah, he's been working more than he has the past few years.
Yeah. And it's
I
probably because the story is so damn good, and you need him.
Right, you need him. And that to me says this story is coming to a head, like the Bloodline thing, because when things were, in the middle of the story, he didn't need to be there because Jimmy, Jay, Solo, and Paul could carry it without him being there because he was still this omnipresent thing where he's still calling the shots even though he's not there. But is that still going to happen? It could. Does Roman go away for a little while after Money in the Bank or even until Money in the Bank? Where now he just has Solo running amok? I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
Bro, I just thought about it. So you had mentioned those four, and I was like, well, don't forget Sammy was there too. And then I thought about the trial of Sami Zayn and then Jay hugging Sammy at War Games, and like the chills came over my body thinking about that. Like I just got chills thinking about that. I was like, what a goddamn good time in wrestling. What a good goddamn good time it was to be a wrestling fan. And like it still is. Like this modern era, again, and eventually this modern era will be seen as a renaissance period. But I mean, for a while, like just like the ruthless aggression era still doesn't like get enough respect and held up into high as regards as the attitude era. Which personally, for me, I like the ruthless aggression era better than the attitude era. But I think as there's a lot more attitude era fans still floating around, and then eventually it'll be like that way. Like this modern era fans, like all we hear about is ruthless aggression, ruthless aggression.
Shut up and listen.
But this modern era is, I mean, just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely phenomenal. Great wrestling. I had seen a post that said, listen, just hear me out here. Triple H is the Bill Belichick, and Vince McMahon is somebody who is it. When Bill was on the Jets. Bill was the Jets, and the other guy was like Bill Parcells. and he's like Vince McMahon is Bill Parcells, and he's just like Vince
That's
picks the
fair.
he's like Vince picks the crops of guys so he wants to push, and then Triple H does it well because they said Triple H's guys that he picked haven't been doing great so far. Which he's got a good point here. Like, I mean, what are we doing with Karrion Cross? Some of these people haven't been doing put over well, but like, but just back to what the reason I was making this point is like this era of wrestling has been so good, and I think the tag division is about to get. I think it is going to split soon, and it's going to get because I think DIY is coming back,
I've heard
and so
rumors, yeah.
yeah, I've noticed it for a while because Johnny's kept saying he's coming. Things are gonna be great. He's coming. So like, who else is he talking about? I think wrestling is just a good time right now, and like you said, like this Bloodline story is just like huge.
Well, it was interesting. You talk about this being a Renaissance era, and I think that's a great way to put it. Because before the PG era, I felt like that was light on story and more on like the in-ring entertainment, like spot fest, keeping people out of their seat. I didn't feel like the stories were as deep. You had it here and there, but like as far as emotionally deep content, Cena got you going during the PG era. Punk got you going. Um, Daniel Bryan was good at that. Randy Orton, Batista, but like Batista at the very
Batista
end
was
at that
gone.
point. Yeah. Oh, he was
Batista was
gone.
gone during PJ.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he left. He left at the beginning of that PG era. Batista was gone by 2010. I think that
Oh,
PG era started like '09. I think that PG era started. It started either '09 or '10. And he was out.
I think it was 2010.
Yeah. I mean, he came back in 2014 for a small run.
But like
Then yeah.
even then, who was still carrying the big storylines? Triple H.
Yeah, well, because even that Evolution storyline that came back, man, that was a great time too.
That and the Authority.
The Shield, the Authority, the Shield, that man, yeah. But this right here,
This is more. We care about more stories. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. We care about a greater number of stories than we ever have in the past. In the past,
oh
it was
yeah,
maybe one or two things we genuinely cared about. Now we're up to like three or four that we have legitimate conversations about.
I mean, I still love what's going on with KO and Sammy. I love Kevin's outbursts.
They're
They're just
funny. They're
hilarious.
starting to get a little overplayed to me though, because it's now like the same thing every week. He's just freaking out about nothing, and you can kind of tell he's scrambling for things to say because he's like, people like it, so I'm going to keep doing it, but I don't really know what the fuck else to do. That's how
I
I
do, but
feel.
I think the things are getting more outlandish. Like more and more people are showing up, and he's like, "What the hell? What is going on with this nonsense?" And so it's like more and more people just keep showing up. Like, who is it? Now we have which Pretty Deadly is going to wrestle them, and they're going to get. I'd be surprised if Pretty Deadly won. They should just get it.
They
Like
won
I
that.
don't know.
They got a heel win in that gauntlet match, and I'm a pretty deadly fan. I like them a lot. I think they're very
I do
funny.
too. I do too, but I don't want to see them win championships right now.
Well,
Um,
the undisputed championship, hell no. But if you want to separate the belts and give them just the SmackDown tag titles, and then Sammy
oh,
and KO keep the Raw ones, I'd be very, very, very okay with that.
I think that's coming too because Adam there was something said and Adam Pierce was like, yeah, and it was something like you got to do something about that or this is the situation. I don't know what it was. I wish I found it, but he had acknowledged like the titles on them, the undisputed titles, and they were like, he's like, yeah, and it's almost like he was stating like, yeah, we're gonna split those up. Like I think we're coming towards it. They're getting ready to get split up because I'm now their only championships not split up.
Yeah. Well, if you say that, but now the NXT and the women's tag team championships are being unified.
Well, well, that makes sense. Like you just don't have enough women's tag teams to really have.
You
Now we have a
should.
lot of.
I'm sorry. Don't take this as sexist. Anybody watching this, scrap the fucking women's tag division. Do it, please.
Or just fix it. I don't mind keeping it. Just fix it though, because I think Shayna and Ronda could have a good run as tag champions.
Again, if you can establish, so you have Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, that's a legit tag team. But after one of those teams wins, because obviously it's going to happen on Friday, what do you do with either of them after that? Besides going to a rematch arc, there's literally nothing you can do. They're just going to walk around with the tag titles and have random people come up to them again. What they need to do is establish legitimate women's tag teams, which they have not done since the birth of these tag titles. You had the Riot Squad that didn't really work out. As far as legit women's tag teams, is Riot Squad the only one? There's no fucking way, right? No, Iconics, okay.
And you got rid of both of those teams.
Yeah. Your only two legit women's tag teams, you said, fuck you, get out.
I thought the Iconics were hilarious.
They were so good. I mean, Cassie got pregnant, but,
No.
you know, after she's had the kid by
The
now.
Riot Squad was good too.
I like them too, yeah.
Well, Shayna and which one became a real tag team? Shayna and the big girl.
Tamina? No.
Nia Jax.
Yeah.
Nia Jax.
Oh, yeah. But she's talking about making a comeback. Did everybody forget she was the 30th entrant in the Women's Royal Rumble this year? Did everybody just forget that for no fucking reason, then she doesn't show up again? Did everybody just forget about that?
Well, no, I wouldn't say no reason. I mean, that's the thing about the Royal Rumble. People come back and...
But 30? 30 to me felt like felt like a Brock Lesnar thing to me. Like, oh shit, here's Nia Jax, she's back, and then she's apparently not with the company? That was weird. Yeah. I guess 30 was my issue. Not her being in the match, 30 was the issue.
You want another fun callback that supposedly, rumors has it that Carlito is making a return.
And he said that the rumors are true, and then he threw a little joke about Vikingo and how he taught him everything he knows. But I think the rumors are true. I think we are getting Caribbean Cool back in the WWE. I'm hyped. I love Carlito.
Yeah, you should join the LWO.
I think he's going to.
Yeah. I love Carlito. Yeah, this is an interesting time to be a wrestling fan. Very interesting time to be a wrestling fan. I love it. I'm trying to figure out when the hell these WrestleMania tickets are coming on sale. Like, what's going on with that? They haven't even mentioned so. There's no way they're going on sale in August.
It's not even July yet.
Yeah, but you can't tell people in July that, hey, tickets are going on sale in August.
Depending on when in August, but yeah. You could.
I guess you could.
You can do whatever you want. You're the World Wrestling Entertainment. You can do whatever you want. People are going to buy them anyway. But I think that's a pretty good place to wrap up for today. It's been a good episode, a lot of discussion. I hate Asuka at this point. Teddy's defending her. We're completely in fucking shambles. This women's division, I guess that would be the one thing we could say that we don't love about Triple H's reign, is that the women's division at times feels very forced and sloppy. And I think this Asuka, Bianca, Charlotte, you see it differently than I do, but I feel like this is an example of that. It seems very clustered and weird. But, again, I guess I will be open-minded and see what happens, but I tell you, I don't have high hopes for it. We got to see what happens with this Bloodline Civil War. Hopefully Seth Rollins can end up having put some respect on this title, although I will admit, at this time, it does not look great. But that's the wonderful part about being wrestling. We always have more questions than answers right now, and that's good. It always felt before like we had more answers than questions, which is not what you want. But yeah, I think that was a great episode. I had a great time. Again, if you're watching this back on Kick, you can find it on YouTube. Follow me, ESG Shake, on absolutely everything. The Hot Tag Podcast on YouTube and on Instagram. Teddy, my man, thanks for hanging out today. Great show. We'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Peace.